Seconds out, Ayman Khan here with boxing reporter for The Sun, Wally Downes Jr. Wally, good to see you, good to speak to you on camera for the first time. How are you doing, sir?
Good, Ames. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad at all. We've got a big fight coming up this weekend. I just want to take our attention away from that just for the moment. Got some breaking news last night, that being that Eubank Jr.'s team are looking to maybe appeal the defeat to Liam Smith due to an illegal elbow. What did you make of that?
I think it's very much Chris's promoters, isn't it? It's the Sauerlands Calais that said that. I'd be a little bit surprised if Chris is of that mind as well, because straight afterwards in the ring and later on in his dressing room to Sky, he credited Liam with I think it was tongue-in-cheek, a punch from the gods, a lucky punch, a punch from heaven. So you'd do well to sort of backtrack that and then say it was an elbow that done me. And I was alerted to the video that went around and the screen grabs from it. It definitely does look like a forearm connects, but I don't think it's the point of the elbow that catches him. So the headline was that they are considering an appeal, and obviously considering to do anything and actually doing it are hugely different. So personally, I'd be very surprised to see the actual appeal materialise, and I'd be very surprised to see the board take any action, to be honest. I think Chris said there and then it was a great shot. We was miles away right on the other side behind Liam corner, so we had to wait and see, but there was a couple that really rocked his head back, so I can't see that really going anywhere.
What do you see as a viable next fight for Chris Eubank Jr.? The rematch seems to be on the table because of the contract. It was contracted put in there, but do you think he should take that? Are there other options there for Chris Eubank Jr.?
I think Chris, again, if you looked at a couple of his interviews afterwards, said the rematch will happen. The rematch will happen soon. At no point did he say, I want the rematch next, I want an instant rematch. So Chris is an incredibly astute businessman. I think he perhaps rushed into that fight knowing that, a lot of us expected it to go the distance and be tight. So even if he lost a close decision, he still had the Conor Benn fight to fall back on. He still had the Liam Smith rematch. There's other things that he could have gone and done. He always talks about fighting Golovkin. The manner in which the fight has ended, I would not be anywhere interested in taking on Liam Smith again. If it's 6 months down the line, Chris is 6 months older. Liam's, the older man, but certainly looked fresher on the night. If I was Chris, that's not something I would look to now. If I was Chris, I would go and try and make that Conor Benn fight. Conor isn't banned. Conor is allowed to box, probably outside of the UK, not having a licence, but I'd imagine there's plenty of places that want to see that fight. Bizarrely, even though Chris is, when Conor's issue with Yarde cropped up, Chris said that he lost all his privileges, lost all his rights, and when the fight happens, he's the A side, he's in control, and that would have been the case. The way that fight has just gone, it's probably sort of evened itself out again somehow. Perhaps Conor might even feel that he's more powerful, and he might even think that fight's not much cop anymore. But that's what I would do if I was Chris. Go and make that Conor fight somewhere and let Liam plan on and move on with his career.
Do you believe we'll see Conor Benn in the ring before the culmination of his hearing? Do you think we'll see him maybe fight out in Abu Dhabi? Is that what maybe you think happens?
Yeah, I think we'll see Conor Benn fight in Abu Dhabi. I'm led to believe he might have had a Zoom call with the WBC penciled in. Might have happened, might not. I guess the findings of that and what happens, we'll find out sooner or later. But I don't expect him to get licensed again by the British board. Conor was really vociferous when we went to see him. Probably around November, that he'd felt slighted, he'd felt they'd been biased against him. You speak a lot of haste, perhaps at the time, a lot of emotion. He said he'd never box under the board again. That can change. Tyson Fury's changed and backtracked on that, so it could all change. I think his dad had a similar situation a long time ago, so it could change, but I certainly, for the foreseeable, I see Conor fighting in the Middle East. Eddie's got to deal with Abu Dhabi. It keeps him on a British time zone. I think to take Conor to the US, he's going to be on at 6 o'clock in the afternoon in America. Guys might not really know who he is, even though of his dad's success. So yeah, Abu Dhabi makes a lot of sense, sort of a business way for Eddie.
A precarious situation though, because if Ben does get fined or his appeal doesn't go through successfully, that's potentially a fighter who's been found to have taken a performance-enhancing substance, but then been in the ring then after the fact.
I don't know if he's been proven to have taken them. Clomifene was found in his system on 2 occasions. That's what he's fighting to prove now, that he has not taken them, and that there has been some form of contamination, either in the way that Yarde tested or perhaps in something that he's ingested. So he's adamant that he's got that proof. He's been adamant of that for a long time. It's just a painful process. he said to me, again, and not just me, Matt Lawton from The Times, when we went to interview him, that he would not fight until he was cleared. And I know it's coming across as sort of a meaningless point, but he isn't banned, he's not under any ban, so he could fight tomorrow, he could have fought already. He's decided not to, so I would imagine if the WBC deal or the situation is addressed soon, he'll fight in the spring. I think Eddie said it a lot of times, he's thrown forward a lot of opponents, so yeah, that's what I think will happen in Abu Dhabi, probably around the spring.
Well, let's turn our attention to Beterbiev versus Yarde unified light heavyweight titles on the line this Sunday. Is this, if Yarde pulls off the upset, one of the biggest upsets, or maybe the biggest upset we'll witness?
I don't think it would sort of be up there with your Donald Currys and things like that, going away and winning. I think going away and winning is always a bigger deal. I think when I looked at the odds yesterday, he's a 6-1, which in a two-horse race is a huge price. You know, that might be a journeyman and a favourite. You know, this is a guy who's gone close to winning a world title already. If he was away in Russia, Montreal, as he's up to Canada, I mean, you know, I think those odds would be in double figures. I'm not much of a gambler, I don't gamble on the main event, certainly when I'm reporting on it, but 6-1 I think is I think he could only probably do it by stoppage, so I'd have a look at what those odds are as well. And I'd love to see Anthony do it. I'd love to see every British boxer win every single fight. You know, it's great for the industry, great for us. It will be, by the bookies, it will be a huge upset, but he's 38 years old. He will have to get old sooner or later, and with boxing it happens overnight. You're not playing a game a week. So it can happen. I don't think the guy that fought Joe Smith Jr. not even that long ago looked ageing. But listen, hopefully for British boxing, he's going to catch him on the right night.
Callum Smith is the mandatory. Let's say Beterbiev gets through the fight this weekend. Do you rate Callum Smith's chances higher than maybe Yarde's would be?
Yes, probably, because I think Yarde's best chance of winning against a methodical power puncher like this, who doesn't have a huge output in terms of number of punches, would be to jump on him, go and attack him, try and do him in 4 rounds, or at least hurt him early. Whereas I think Callum, with the height and the reach and the technical ability that he's got, and the experience, you know, Anthony Yarde had 12 amateur fights. Callum going over the distance with Beterbiev, I would give a better chance. So yes, would be honest. You know, if Beterbiev comes through that and he gets Callum next, then I would give Callum more chance, because I think he could hurt him, but I think he might also be able to outpoint him if it went a distance.
The fight everyone wants to see announced. Hopefully we get an announcement soon. It's imminent, according to Frank Warren. It's Fury versus Usyk. It seems like both parties are negotiating their own fee with Saudi Arabia right now. But with each passing day, it seems like Wembley is likelier. Wally, what's the situation there?
So it's strange that it's taken this long, because even in the build-up to Anthony Joshua's and Usyk's rematch, Queensbury and Alex Krasniuk and Team Usyk were talking. They were very confident that Usyk would win again. So everything was sort of planned at the time. We went to see one of the Saudi princes, who's a very powerful, influential man. He said, yeah, we'll take that fight tomorrow. We'll do it in Riyadh. We knew a figure that they were thinking about doing. So it has been a little bit, maybe not worrying or concerning, but a bit puzzling that it's taken this long. That was sort of 5 months ago, and all the talk was done. I don't believe it will go to Wembley. I know that Usyk's religious commitments, the Great Fast, and then the Great Feast. I think that sorts out some of the dates. The date I now have heard about is the end of April, the 29th. I think March 4 was the dream, and then you've got Ramadan and his Christian commitments. So I think go after that, and I think 29, and I would assume back in Riyadh. And I saw some people say that Jake and Tommy going there maybe would negatively impact the chances, because they might have blown all their money on it. I think people need to see how much ready these people have got. If anything, I would think that fight going there perhaps is a nice little smoother, you know, a nice little, you know, we would take that one and we do that one. So for me, the fact that Tommy and Jake is going there, when that was a done deal for Manchester, that tells me that we're really close to an announcement now for Fury Usyk.
I'm probably on a hiding to nothing on the last question, but I do enjoy reading your, it seems like very tongue-in-cheek responses to the Misfits boxing sphere. But Tommy Fury and Jake Paul has been announced. It's Riyadh, February 26th there. Any interest in that? Do you see Tommy Fury this being a fight that he has to win here?
Do you know what? I am really dismissive in a light-hearted way. One of these will go wrong. Somebody will be hurt. and then boxing will face the consequences. Chris McKenna wrote a great comment piece the other day. His family run a gym, and if there's a tragedy in that in that environment with children, with people of this little experience. I saw a clip once where they said to the girl, welcome to the UK, looking forward to your first Misfits fight. How long have you been training for? She said 10 days. That's worrying, Ames. That's not right. And yes, there are tragedies in real boxing, horrible ones, terrifying ones that you have to report on and speak to people about. But most of them fighters have dedicated their life to it. They might have had 100 amateur fights. So it's dangerous, and it's got a huge audience as well. We do have the odd tragedy, very rarely in a huge fight. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but we are putting children, to keep saying children, very young people with almost no experience whatsoever in situations of fighting. I send my 2 boys to school, I say, don't fight with anyone. Yet we're sort of encouraging these people that don't have any training. If they can sign a contract now and say no one will ever get hurt doing this, I'll say fantastic, and no worries. But I remember when Jake Paul knocked out that basketball player, the poor kid, that was a bad knockout. They've still got little gloves. Some of these lads are athletic. Something like the Tommy fight, they're evenly matched enough, both athletic, strong guys. I don't really care, get on with it. People enjoy white-collar fights. I've got friends that have done them, and I've done them, and it's stupid, and I know every boxing trainer would say I'm an idiot and I was trying to be cool, but I wasn't. I loved the dedication. I'd never been slimmer. That's why I did it, and I loved it. So it can be hypocritical, and the Sun, we enjoy all the coverage and the attention that it brings. But just when somebody does get hurt, the circus will roll out of town. And those guys that have done so well to build up their brand, to be so powerful, so rich, they can go and do table tennis, or they can go and do horse riding, or they can do slap wars. Jesus Christ, that thing has come out now. But boxing will be left to carry the can. My newspaper, we will have to explain how this has happened. I might lose my job. This is a small little industry, so that's what I worry about. But yeah, I'm not too bothered who wins. Those guys are training hard. This idea that we're bringing these wonderful new eyes, these new viewers, and get your children to Google. Some of the girls that fight on these shows, you can't Google them because they're porn stars. And I'm not against the porn industry at all, but we can't say they're influencers. If you put in some of the names into the Google, if I might get my 8-year-old boy to do that's. I can't, it can't be. So I think we need to differentiate. It's celebrity fighting. There's not much boxing to do with it, but top of the cards, get on with it. Good luck, lads. Hope you make bundles of money. No one should buy it thinking it's real boxing. And if it attracts one kid to the gym for the right reasons, it's wonderful. But I do sit around just waiting for something to go wrong. Not just on a Misfit show, any of these shows. I didn't like Tyson Jones, the idea that they was trying to get Evander Holyfield out a little while ago, a man who's seriously struggling. So anything that isn't natural boxing, where you've got good corners, good people, a bit of experience, it's just dangerous.
Wally, I think a lot of people who are watching this interview will concur with your thoughts there. There's a lot on the table, much more to speak about, but we'll leave it for another time. Pleasure speaking to you. Where can we find you, where you're writing, and your presence on social media?
Well, I've got about 4 followers, Ames, so it won't be hard to find me. Plenty of room. Wally Downes Jr, I assume, and I write for The Sun.
Wally, pleasure. Thank you so much for speaking to SecondsOut. Much appreciated, sir.